Is the item for C2 present?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so they're online. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so we have a few comments. Maybe you can put the elevations on board. Yeah, I look at this before and I noticed that you addressed most of the comments. I think the front door location is better. This is the existing. The next one will be the proposed, right?
Sorry, just give me one second.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, yeah. What changed? What changes have you made?
Okay. Could you? I'm having a technical problem because the architect is on the other line and she can't. I think she can't unmute her phone. This is Roberto Leon. Would you mind waiting for 1 second while I try to put her back in?
Sure. Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry. She's in another country, so.
Well, maybe we can look at the next project and put you on hold and then you come back to you. How about that?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let's look at C3 on East Valley Road. Is the applicant here?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes.
Perfect.
All right. So there are some landscape comments mainly. Kaylee, I think mainly
Yeah, so we were back in October was when you reviewed this. Obviously, we're here on consent for prelim final. Let me know what you would like to see.
yes, on the landscape mainly, right?
Yes, we have a landscape sheet. It does not look like it made it in here because these are just the grading and drainage but we do have a landscape screening that is not in this set, unfortunately.
So
We do have our landscape architect here. He can speak to what was documented.
Sorry, the planner provided a sheet that was missing from the package this morning. Would you like me to bring it up?
oh yes, of course.
Thank you. That is not it.
Oh, that is not it. Apologies, it's for a different project. But it looks like the landscape project.
Hello.
Yeah, if this is Scott Menzel, I'm the landscape architect, and at the very least, I could explain to you what was on the plan. It's pretty simple.
Well, we need, this is for, it's for preliminary and final, so, you know, we do need documents on record.
Scott, is it your understanding that you guys did submit the plans and they just, for some reason, weren't uploaded to the box?
I'm trying to find that out right now.
Okay,
Um,
so maybe we'll hop to another item and if that can get figured
Okay.
out.
they weren't submitted, I guess.
Come back to C3 later. Okay, let's try our luck with C4 now. Okay, I can see the I can see the applicants here, and let's see. We had some comments, and yeah. Let's see. Yeah, why don't you make a quick presentation that looks at the elevations and the site plan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or maybe we could start with the elevation sheet. I believe it's a 3.1 or 3.2.
I think if you give a number, it's much better.
I wish I knew it, if I could. Probably close to, let's see, if you keep scrolling down, I'll stop you when I recognize it. There we go.
Yeah.
17, please.
There you go.
There we go. So if we scroll
Yes,
down to the
that-
bottom, the only change that we've made is on the lowest elevation on the sheets.
Mhm.
We changed the windows so that the 2-bedroom windows are larger and the window to the right is smaller, just to give it a little bit more
Yeah,
eclectic nature than before. So
Yeah,
that's
that-
really,
they were three the same. and
they were
looked like
3 the
it.
same and
Okay.
very linear.
Okay, very good. Okay,
Um,
that's number 2, the tall windows.
And
Everything looks good. Now, let's move on.
no, I
Uh,
was gonna guide you
planting-
to the site section.
Yeah, planting above, yeah, I look at this online.
Okay.
Planting above and below the retaining walls to screen the wall. Where can we see that?
Can you go to the site section? Because we sort of want to start with that.
That would be up probably around sheet 10. Maybe not. Keep scrolling up to 7.
There it is.
There we go.
Okay,
Yes.
so if you look at the section that's at the bottom,
Hmm.
you'll see, I mean, it's hard to explain, but it's a very large site. I mean, we're looking at a little teeny dot on a hill. And so I just wanted to make sure you guys understand the context before we get really fussy about, we do have screening,
Mm.
but I want to make sure that you understand how far away and how minuscule it is in terms of what can be seen, because it's also in an orchard setting. Okay, and you can go down to the landscape plan set. And one of the comments was screening the pool, but also adding some plants. And we sort of maybe over responded to fire safety and vegetation fuel management. And so we've added an approvable ground cover and sort of filled in wherever there's grading to make sure that everything's filled. There are some grasses, which I think are usually pretty good for fire because they burn fast and they don't really fly around. And then there's meadow at the base below the pool. Against the pool, we have a combination of roofs, and there's a toyons at the corners, and trying to remember, but the most important plant there is the Lucian tegrifolia, because that'll give us sort of that slope control, but that also is a plant that'll get 8 feet tall or more. And I'm trying to remember what the other comments were.
Oh, no, that's,
That was most of
that
it.
was that, yeah.
The other thing we did, which is hard to see on this, is there a way to zoom into the pool there?
Yeah, there was a comment about reducing the size of the pool, but I think,
We did,
Yeah,
we had the pool identified incorrectly
Right.
on one of the sheets somewhere, but the pool is actually, I think it's
It's 19 by 34, I
19
believe. We
by,
have it listed on our site plan.
yeah, it's,
But it's less than the 20 by 50 that was on the project description.
we did study it also, and we did add the intermediate wall. So now if you go up a couple sheets to the site, to our layout plan,
It looks like it's a 4-foot wall, like a 5-foot or so. behind
Correct.
it. And what is it? It's a little hard to read the symbol on my computer. What, do you have something screening in between the 2 walls?
right now, we have a simple planting of Lamandra that just runs across at that lower level of the wall. And then we did add a Parthenocissus on the lower wall and on the upper wall. We did not add pocket planters at the pool deck because oftentimes they want the pool decks to be continuous. They don't want any permit, any punctures in the pool deck itself, the pool contractors, because that destabilizes the slab. And so, and because it's so remote and because it's sort of an ag setting, we want to keep it really simple and clean, sort of a walk through the woods and go to a field and there's a pool in the middle of a field in Italy kind of idea, even though it's on a slope, it's a little different.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. That's about it.
Okay, yeah, I just got one comment. Go to page 18, please. Yeah, it's right there, right there. Yeah, and I think the elevations are beautiful. You've done a great job. Just the, you know, a comment, you know, because you don't have to do it, but that round top window, door in the middle is completely, I don't, you know, belongs to a different, just saying, but it's a minor thing, so you know, take it or leave it.
I gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, so this is ready to go then, right? Yeah, okay, good. All right.
Great. Thank you.
Did you have any landscape writing?
We do. It's at the last, it's the last, last sheet in the landscape set.
Yeah.
And we've been through some stuff with the planner. We have a flexible path light
I saw
that
that,
rotates.
but you're gonna use.
And
it.
we put a note on there that say where it's aimed, because it's not putting out enough light to do much, but still we wanted to make sure the planner was okay with it. So we added that note, and then there's a wall light, and you know, everything's very subtle.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, right, so you're good to go.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Is C2 available? Is back,
Yes, we are.
great. Do we have the?
Regina, Regina, you can unmute now.
Okay, very good.
Okay, hello.
Great. Hello. Hi. Can you show us the, let's go to the elevations. What page would that be? Let's see.
The page 12, which is the plan.
No, the elevations, yeah.
The elevations, they are,
There you are, 16. There you go.
yes,
Perfect.
16 and 17. So here was to respond the second one, the use of materials and simplify because it appears too busy.
Mhm.
So what we did here, we removed the concrete, you know, all the concrete, the formboard that were, you know, it was too many horizontals because of the wood, and we made all kind of stucco gray.
Mhm.
So this is, now we are using, you know, 2 colors and 2 materials for this west elevation, and for the north elevation, which is the lower one, we also simplified, keeping 2 materials, you know, just repeating a little bit here and there to give consistency. Same thing, all sides. And also if you go back to the north elevation, yes, I don't know if you remember, but it had on the second floor above the garage, we had a wall. That volume of wood was kind of cutting the roof, the metal roof, and it was kind of confused to understand because, you know, I think somebody during the meeting put this in questions. We spoke with the client, and they also prefer without that. So it's now less busy.
Yeah, very good. And I also noted that you did move the door back, and I think it works much better. The front door.
Yes, we recessed the door as much as possible. Now we have 3 feet and 3 inches inside to cross. So we recessed as much as possible.
There you go.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you go to the floor plan, which is the page 12,
Yeah, there it is.
this is,
Yeah.
this is the wrong one.
No.
I apologize. I sent another one, A105. I did that when I was in the hospital with my dad, who passed away. And I sent the wrong one.
Okay.
I don't know if they had time to,
Okay,
but it's recessed. It's very much recessed.
okay, so you put it back to the line of the, I mean, can you send us, or can you show us in your?
Yes, yeah,
Can you show-
somebody, yeah, they did that. This is the one. if you could
This is the one.
zoom,
Okay, okay.
yeah, the at the entrance.
Yeah, you know, it
we
is
re-
better. It is, yeah, okay, very good.
Yeah, and I really like your idea. The suggestions was, I think
So-
it will work better anyway. Yeah.
Okay, one question. Do you have any construction details? I couldn't find them. And any eaves and door details and the corners and all that?
Well, I do have, but I was not prepared to show here because I didn't know that it was required that, or that was something important. If you go maybe to the sections on,
The sections don't show much. I was looking there.
yes,
So,
yeah.
listen, this is what we can do. You can submit to the building department, but you're not gonna get it final until we get a final approval. But I think you're free to submit to the building department and come back
Uh-huh.
in a couple of weeks with your construction details, your eaves,
Yeah.
door and window details, etc. So like what the builder would, you know, otherwise it's kind of like writing a blank check. It's a nice picture, but you have to show how it's going to be built. So
Yeah, it's it is more than a foot recessed, and we have this cover, and so it's kind of enclosed
it's not okay. So
in place for
this is what we're
for
going to
the
do. We're going to continue this for you can come back in 2 weeks and come back with those details. Meanwhile, if you have your construction documents, you can submit them to the building department. It'll take a little bit of time to process. So meanwhile, you can come back here and get the final, okay?
Yeah, from the floor plan, from the other floor plan that they show
No,
there.
we need construction details. Do you understand?
Yeah, okay, I understand.
Right. Okay, very good. So we'll see you in a couple
Okay.
of weeks, okay? Very good.
All right. Okay, thank you.
All right, so how about C3? Do we have?
Yes, I'm here and I think we need to be continued. I just didn't include the sheet and I apologize about that. And I already emailed Jonathan Martin and the assigned planner, the complete set with the sheet and asked to be continued on the next consent agenda. So I think that's where that lies.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay,
All right. Thank you for your time.
all right, okay.
Okay,
Very good. Okay,
thank you.
Thank you. Wait. We have the sheet? We have the sheet?
I emailed it. I just emailed it while we were on a break,
Okay,
but we
then
don't
let's
have
go.
it in this set. No.
It's okay, let's take a look at it. Okay, so we
Why don't,
yeah,
it's not included in this set that I sent the planner, but I just emailed it this morning. We have it. I just overlooked
do you have it,
including
John?
it.
Okay, we have it here. Okay.
Okay.
I have the sheet that was sent in this morning.
Perfect.
Okay, let's look at that.
Yeah, wherever you would like to begin.
Let's go with the landscape.
Okay.
Yes, there it is. Page 17.
I think so, yeah. There it is.
All right, my name is Scott Menzel. I'm the landscape architect. We are proposing 3 new oak trees on the south side of the proposed barn. About almost 2 years ago, we planted a dozen oak trees between the proposed barn location and East Valley Road. The client's intent was to kind of restore that entire area to more of a native oak woodland. So there's already quite a bit of youngish trees. We planted 48s to 72-inch boxes. But we're proposing 3 new 15-gallon oaks and then 10 or so new native shrubs. And the 2 species we're proposing is Ceanothus snowflurry and Myrica californica. So those would be strategically placed just to help soften any massing from the barn. And then this entire site really is just essentially naturalized grasses and wildflowers. The client is hoping to maintain that very rural look. So any area that gets disturbed by construction or grading activities, we'll just hydroseed with a native erosion control mix, and then let those already established annuals take hold again.
Okay, it's good enough.
And just to clarify, the 3 new oak trees are not mitigation, they're just volunteers.
That's right.
Okay, perfect. That's what I was gonna ask. I don't see any mitigation. It looks like just an olive is coming out and that's it, right?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, and we had Bill Spiewak look at the existing trees. There's an existing oak kind of in the vicinity of the proposed development. And then what are these? Eucalyptus, 2 eucalyptus? He actually said you could take the eucalyptus out because they have a heavy lean, but we're keeping them, so.
Yeah, seems good.
Now we have also a comment about the lighting detail. And have you, this is, so
That should be page 19. I didn't put a specific note on it because before I had a typical kind of like what you would
there it is.
consider-
Yeah.
Yeah, a barn light that was open and it was mounted very high above the door, the big barn door. So I just switched to these little, I think they're 3-watt facing down small fixtures that comply.
Okay, perfect. Okay, very good. So we get a preliminary and final on consent. Yeah, perfect. Okay, very good. So that concludes the consent calendar.
Thank you for your patience with this one. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
He's going to get his computer. Should we? You want me to start? All right, so we'll begin the SBAR meeting of May 5th, 2023. And we'll first ask for public comment for any items not related to the items in the agenda today. Nobody online? Okay, and then we'll move on to the agenda status report.
Item number 5. It's here. I'm so sorry. Item number 6, 23 BAR 00033 Reardon parking modification is requesting a continuance to the 6/16 agenda.
You need a motion for that?
For the continuance, yes.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I make a motion to continue. I think 6.
Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion
All
carries.
And then we'll review the unapproved minutes from April 22nd. Scroll down. Yeah,
Page 3.
there's not too many comments until yet.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah. And Klinger just got approval, so I'm gonna do this. We're reviewing the minutes. Correct.
3 seems fine, right?
Or simple.
Mhm. Okay, 6.
Is 7 good? Yeah.
On 6B, could we word that better? Steady glass connection to be in context with prior renderings. That was that. It was a glass connector. Let's see. How about 2-story glass connection? Just so it's clear what we're talking about.
To be, instead of in context, to be consistent. with
Yeah.
Prior rendering.
Okay. So study 2-story glass connection to be consistent with prior renderings. And ensure it integrates in the structure.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I got that.
Okay, 7 seems to be okay. Right? And 8. What is this rhythm of planting in 8B? Rhythm of
I
planting.
don't think it was my comment, but the way the architecture has the
Okay,
rhythm to it, so I don't remember the comment.
okay.
Did you?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see. Consider rhythm of planting to avoid blocking doors and windows.
Yeah.
About that. Otherwise, it sounds musical, you know, sounds like a different comment. Okay,
That's it, right?
that, how about 10?
Oh, shoot, I don't have that last page.
Are we done with that?
No, go to 10, yeah.
There's another.
Hurry up.
Yeah, I think going back to 12A, board is concerned with this, with the scale. I mean, the building's too big. And I think we need to point that out more clearly with the compatibility and scale of the prefab building. Does that make sense?
Yeah, at the end of letter A, it could say building appears industrial in a residential neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 12-foot wave heights and, you know, the building's kind of big.
How about on letter C, get rid of the word study and say use plantings to soften structure?
Rid of which now?
On letter C, get rid of study and just say use plantings to soften structure. And then on letter D, use landscaping to integrate new structure into overall site plan. We
Okay,
did recommend they hire a landscape professional too, so I think we should leave that. Yeah, instead of board.
I'm sorry,
suggests, Board recommends.
this is for item D.
Yeah,
Okay, so board recommends.
applicant work with the landscape professional. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of April 21st. Aye.
As board members, informational briefings. Close on that, staff updates.
Staff update for Joe.
Joe, do you have anything for us? Joe, do you have anything for us?
I'm sorry, the audio was just dropping out. No, I don't have any staff updates for today.
Very good. Can you turn that? We're a little hot here.
Yeah.
Can you turn the volume down? I think you're getting feedback. Just turn it on a touch. Testing 1, 2. Hello, hello. There, that's better. Maybe a little more. You guys hear us okay in the peanut gallery? All right, let's get on to the standard agenda today. It's still hot. Item number 1 is the Arteaga residents, new residents. Please hop in here and give us your name, kind of help us get located on the planet here where we are. The county and so forth. There's a start. Now for the rest of the human beings here, like there's like 1 million people watching. It's a big deal. Morning, Tom.
Morning, Tom Meany, architect. So should we address the comments from the last meeting?
Oh,
How do you want to handle
Sorry,
this?
yeah, go ahead and do that. I forgot, I thought this was a new item, my bad. Forget all.
Yeah, the last of the A6 sheets is a sketch elevation. To go that way. Going down. Okay, it's number, keep going. 35. Okay, so one of the comments from the last meeting was to study the integration of the second floor as it relates to the first floor. So I did this sketch rendering of our revision, and basically what we've done with the second floor, we redesigned it. We took the gable form down to hip to kind of soften the transition from the 1-story to the 2-story. And we reworked our fenestration to kind of tie into the rhythms of the openings on the first floor. So we have a balcony off a little den that stacks over a dining window on one side. And then we have a pair of small windows, secondary on the upper floor that they hit the center line of that new bay window that happens on the first floor bedroom. So we just basically softened the mass, then had some rearrangement of the fenestration that ties the second floor layout to the first floor. So that was really the only design change on that side. On the back side, we did the same sort of configuration. So if you go up a few more sheets, go up the other direction, just to the elevation of the back side of the house. Keep going. Should be the next one. Oh, one more, sorry. Yeah, there might be an overall in there. So let's go down one. So then on the back side, you look at the right-hand side with this same sort of treatment. We have a balcony that stacks over the dining window, a little step out, or a recessed balcony that stacks over a door that goes into the pantry area. And then on the right-hand side, we turned that roof element to extend out from the gable that's happening behind it. And so that outdoor room is a different configuration compared to what we had before. So just kind of simplifying our roof lines on the backside. Oh, good. Also, you wanted to see a site section showing the relationship of this property with the neighbors. So we go to the overall sheets. There we go. Keep going. There it is, number 12. So that lower configuration, that's the existing or proposed building. And then about midway between the two buildings, you see the street elevation listed, and then the profile of the hill and the uphill neighbor from us is that little schematic diagram of the building to the right. So he's quite a bit back from us and quite a bit above us. And then as you saw from the site visit today, there's a lot of vegetation on their property and on our property that really would make it very, very difficult for them to see our structure. And then you also asked for the models. So we'll go to those sheets. We saw a peek of those at the site visit. They should be down quite a ways. There we go, 36 and 37. So as we saw it on the sites, that top image is what's looking down from Cresta down towards the property, standing at street level, looking down the abandoned driveway. At the 2-car garage detached shows the new hip configuration for the 2-story section. And then the bottom image is basically looking down the existing driveway towards the proposed detached garage, and then the side elevation of the proposed residence. If you go down one image, there we go. And since we're bringing the driveway from down below, we want to get a good handle on what it is you see as you approach the house in terms of massing, and then how that is integrated into our proposed landscape design so that we can soften the massing as seen from below, from off-site. So you see how the house stacks on the existing pad. We've got an infinity edge pool that nestles into the descending slope. From the earlier concept, we reduced our grading substantially we eliminated a bocce court, and our retaining wall heights as a result reduced considerably on the downhill side of the property. And that was a comment that came from our planner, was just to make an effort to reduce our grading quantities. And so by eliminating that bocce court, our grading numbers came down a lot, and our retaining wall heights came down a lot as well. So those are the significant changes that happened since the project was last seen.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Any questions from board members? Okay, no questions. Do we have any public comment today on this item? I haven't seen no public comment requests. I'm going to bring it back to the board for comments. Sorry, John.
Well, I mean, the overall composition is really very good, balanced. And it's a nice project. I have one item that's I'm curious about, where you have the arched window. You have a solid door and a glass wall.
On the entry,
Yeah,
yeah, if you go back to my sketch, I think it maybe illustrates a little bit better, at least in terms of, 35 there. Yeah, so there I'm showing, if you can zoom in, I mean, what I'm proposing is a steel door within a steel frame. So the whole thing will be black with steel.
but it's a solid door.
No, it's steel and glass
Oh.
for the entry door, yeah.
Okay. Because that seemed a little weird. You have a glass door and a solid
Yeah,
glass wall with a solid door.
yeah.
Okay,
And so you see right through the house
Uh-huh.
from that approach, because you've got the big window on the living room side that aligns with that, so that view to the ocean will be pretty dramatic and transparent.
There's a nice detail of that in the door window schedule if you want to refer to that as well. All right, any other comments? Different than John's, Valerie or Alex?
I think it's a very nice house. It's big. It's has a big presence, but it's well detailed, and I think it will be an asset to the neighborhood. I like the idea of the access from the bottom of the side. I think it makes sense. Closing the steep driveway on the left, that's also a plus. I support this project.
Yeah, I think the two-story redo was a big improvement. And I did drive down onto Llano, and it's pretty visible from down there, but you've got the whole orchard and the ability to screen more. I'm interested to hear what the screening is on the infinity pool front. So I guess that's a question.
All right. What's the screening on the infinity pool front?
I could look at the landscape plan and wing it.
Where's the landscape plan?
It should be.
Should be on a separate sheet, maybe. I'm looking for it in the plans.
Oh, really?
It's on the last sheet.
Is it?
I think it's 43.
You gotta spin.
All right, well, we're looking for that, Robert.
I'm not sure our landscape plan shows much in the way of proposed planting.
It doesn't really illustrate much planting.
No.
Yep.
It's more
That
like
sheet number 44. So the one I got. Yeah, you
Yeah, there's some there. But there's
There's
not much
trees from
specifics, yeah.
So you two, everybody else likes the project. You gonna ruin it for us, or you guys?
Yeah, I'm gonna ruin it. No, I like your project. I think it'd be nice to see what's happening on Llano, in terms of the gate, and how the plantings approached at the next iteration. Also, you're gonna have this nice new driveway coming up through your orchard, and curious kind of how that's finished along the edge of the driveway and how you blend that into the orchard. It'll be impressive.
Okay, well, it seems like we have a lot of support for the project. We're agendized today for preliminary approval. Do you have any motions that you would care to make?
I'll just add the comment that when it comes back to the full landscape plans.
Okay, so do I have any motions?
Yeah, I'll make a motion for preliminary approval with the conditions that the landscape be expanded to encompass the view from Llano Avenue, or at least not talking about the whole site, but at least to be addressed and just to see what the entry, what the experience is. Because the orchard is fine. It's just it may need a little bit of upgrade. It's a big road. Yeah.
Okay, just let's move to discussion here. Joe, we have a motion for preliminary approval for the condition around landscaping. Can you read back what you heard or try and see if you can make some sense of that?
Yeah, so it was kind of hard to hear Alex in his comment, but what I had before Alex made that comment was just to return with additional landscape details, including full planting plan, sizes, quantities, etc.
Yeah, I think we want to add,
including the approach from Llano Avenue.
right. So some information, we're going to require information about the approach from Llano Avenue, which would be the entry and the drive up.
Yeah, how about the design of the gate and the fencing?
Yeah, that's what I
around
mean.
it?
The entry gate, the entry landscape, and the drive up to the main residence, those three things. Okay. Satisfactory.
And screening on the pool.
And then other comment is to address this landscape screening of the pool as it overhangs the slope. Okay, so we have a motion with some conditions. I would like to also make for the record comment that we bring this back on consent for final. Are you agreement making the motion okay with that? Yes,
Yeah, just including full landscape plans, for all planting around the house pad and any exterior landscape lighting.
okay, so not a condition.
So it's basically, it's mainly landscape items and details and so forth, typical.
Okay, all right, so you comfortable with that, Alex?
I'll say.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Kindly seconds. All those in favor?
I
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, motion carries. Preliminary approval. See you consent. Thanks. Item number 2, Eubank Benner addition. This is a request to sue Earchick. Do we have our applicants here? Hi, come up to the mic. Is this the first time we've seen you?
Yes, yes, it
Okay.
is. Well,
So-
we actually had
So-
submitted for design review back in 2021.
Let's just call it the first time. So go ahead and state your name for the record and then
Yeah.
make a presentation here.
Of
Can you guys
course.
start by getting us located in the county? It just shows where we are, what neighborhood. Make sure we know what kind of slope and geographic kind of condition you have. And then just jump in your presentation.
Okay, so my name is Larry Brisset. I'm the architect for Paige Brenner and Chris Eubank. The project is located on Estrella in Hope Ranch. And we're proposing a fairly, so 2 reasons that we're here. One, the house was built in the early 50s. It is not a historic house in any means whatsoever. It is a fairly dingbat looking 1950s house, stucco siding, a hip and gable roof combination that's existing on the house. It's on a very narrow linear pad, as you can see, and we're proposing an addition in the rear of the house for a mudroom, which is 62 square feet.
Where is it? What neighborhood? What part?
Hope Ranch off of Estrella.
It's right near Laguna Blanca Middle School, so right as you come around it on Paloma, just past Camino Media. So
Okay, so is there
kind of where you were this morning, just on the other side of the ranch.
is there a yeah, that's not so great. Okay. All right, continue.
So, and then we're also proposing, all the additions are 1 story. The house is 1 story. We're keeping it within the height of the existing house, but we're proposing a 576 square foot addition. That's on the right. I guess I can call it this. Oh, I see. There. So the mudroom addition, the 62 square foot, is on the back of the building. It allows them to get access from the garage into the kitchen. The bedroom, bath, and closet addition is on this end of the building. There's a very narrow existing pad that's there. There's a low retaining wall that's along the back that's existing. We're not encroaching or going over the top of slope. The top of slope is back in here, so there'll be access around the building. There are oak trees here, pretty much all around. And then we're proposing to screen the building, and we have, because of the encroachment into the drip line in this location, we're proposing 3 Quercus agrifolias be planted here. And then the homeowners association, Hope Ranch, asked for 3 Toyon plants, shrubs to be planted here to give some visual screening from the road. Although it's really difficult to see to begin with, but the proposal is to plant the trees and the shrubs to be able to screen the project. The existing house is being remodeled currently under a separate permit that we got a couple years ago. The roof lines, everything's consistent. It's going to be a stucco finish on the exterior. We're using metal aluminum doors and windows that they were La Cantina. And then the roof lines are actually asphalt shingle that was approved by the Hope Ranch Homeowners Association due to the 2x4 roof framing that they had, because we couldn't put heavy concrete or slate or other roof materials on it. Yeah, if you keep going down, obviously those are the demolition plans. There's the floor plans. So if you back up just a second.
Let's just look at the elevations now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, keep going down. So the left side is showing it as you would drive up to the driveway. The garage is existing. On the right, you can see, point this at it again. This is the addition, which is the bedroom. It's on an angle that follows the slope. This is the back of the bedroom addition that follows along where the existing retaining wall is. And if you go down just a little bit further, that's the bedroom addition as seen from the side of that property, side yard property line. And then this is the front addition. And obviously what I was mentioning before is that this side is somewhat visible from Estrella, but we're again planning landscape screening. These are the remodeled plans that show new doors and windows that are already installed and being completed. And then the matching La Cantina doors and windows that are here.
Okay, so a couple quick questions.
Yeah.
Are you proposing any exterior lighting?
The exterior lighting that we're proposing is just some sconces.
Okay, and then do you guys have photos of the existing house in your application?
There should be.
Okay, and are you proposing any landscape improvements with this part of the application?
But only the three Quercus agorafolias and the three toyans.
Right, this is a pretty straightforward application. So, it's too interesting here, but we do have a public speaker. So
Yeah, and he should explain the modification part of it.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. So because of the nature of the lot and the buildable space, which is very limited, we do have, and I guess if you can go back to the site plan, that's going to show. Yeah, that would be fine right there. Oh, no, actually, sorry, back to that one. Yeah. So because of the nature of the property, we're proposing an encroachment into the side yard setback of 5 feet, which is a 20% reduction. The total square footage of that is 27.17 square feet. And then in the front, we have a setback that we're modifying or encroaching within. That is just under 3 feet of square footage, and we're encroaching by 1.4 foot into the front yard setback. And so the front yard setback is 75 foot. The required setback were 73 feet 8 inches, and then the side yard setback is a 25-foot requirement, and we're providing a 20-foot setback with a 5-foot encroachment.
Okay, very good. So any other questions? All right, I'm going to turn this into going to open up public comment. We have Nancy Bernstein here. Are you with us? And please come up to the podium, ma'am, and state your name for the record. I'll give you 3 minutes to speak. Let me know when you're ready, and I'll start the clock. Wait till you get to the microphone.
She's here for a different.
I looked at the agenda, it looked like item 11.
Oh, this was just handed to me. Yeah, I can see now. This is not.
So I have some time.
You do.
Thank you.
Sorry to make people exercise there. All right, so do we have any public comment on this? Okay, I don't have my plan.
I have a question.
Okay,
Hey,
we have a question. Go
We
ahead.
go to page 16. Can you go to 16? Who is driving here? Yeah.
God, they don't know. But is it 16 now?
Yes, 16, yes.
Okay, a question on page 16.
Is that 16? Yeah. Well, it doesn't show. How about eight? Where is it, 16? About 12. Go to 12. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I see, I was looking, what are all those squares, and I know there's a lot of roof vents, and they appear detailed on page 18. This is, it's an incredible amount of them. And I was wondering, how visible are they? Are they very flat? They're on page 18, you see the detail.
Yeah, so those are O'Hagan vents, so
Yeah.
they are flat and stay in the same plane as the roof material.
You don't see them, right?
Correct, and they'll be painted the same color as the roofing.
That's why I have it.
Okay, all right, well.
All right, let me try again. Do we have any public comment on this item? Okay, having heard none, I'm going to close public comment, bring it back to the board again. This is a pretty straightforward addition. Do you have any negative comments from anybody here? We have support for the project the way it's proposed.
So I think could go for preliminary and final on consent.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
And
What about colors?
It's too much existing, that's the small. I would imagine,
there a
are you
plan?
matching existing?
It all matches the existing,
Yeah.
which was approved by the Hope Ranch HOA as well.
Outside.
all right, I'm getting confused here. Do we have a planner memo? Okay. Joe, do you have any guidance for us on how to make comment for your planning staff on the modification request? For the
Yes, Mr. Chair, is there a planner memo for this one?
there's not.
There's not. Okay, let me see.
So I could try this. Does the board,
We
is
would support the modification
Okay.
because it's minor in nature.
that unanimous from the board? Any dissent on that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna move you off to come back on preliminary finals.
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, with the modification, it needs to receive preliminary approval before it can go to the decision maker.
Yep.
So there's a couple things, since there isn't a planner memo for this, what I suggest is you allow it to return for preliminary approval. And then it'll come back, and then it'll be able to get final after decision maker approval.
Right.
So
So-
if we go to consent for preliminary approval next time, and then you can go to the modification. Okay, consent is one person at the beginning of the day, it will be done in 30 seconds.
So let's put them on the agenda for consent next time, preliminary and final. You're gonna have.
No, it cannot, no, it can only be preliminary, and then it has to be the modification, and then it has to come back for final.
Okay.
So that's the procedure. Even though we're probably gonna get final, like you say, in 30 seconds. Okay, well, we'll do what we need to. Thank you very much.
All right. Make sure you bring what you need for the preliminary. Make sure you have documentation in your drawings about the exterior lighting. Make sure it's compliant with the county's ordinance around dark sky compliance. Like, I recommend you just take the ordinance cut sheet out of and then just paste it into the plans, but downward pointing lights, no visible source of light, and then details and anything else that would, a materials board and that sort of thing, so you can get your approval. All right, let's move
Noted.
on
Thank you.
to item number 4.
Great.
No, I don't know. Sorry. Yeah. Allergy. Okay, item number 3, Cartagena addition and accessory structures. We have Jose Sanchez for Robert and Robin Cartagena. Are you with us in person or online?
I'm online.
Okay, go ahead and state your name for the record and let's get a presentation. Is this the first time we've seen you?
Second time.
Okay, I've been out a couple of meetings, so just trying to figure out. Yep.
Yeah, no worries.
Comment too.
So Jose Sanchez with Design Studio 34.
So give me a second here. Let's let's go through the comments one by one, start at the top. And just address them, and then if you want to make any additional presentation about anything that's changed significantly, go ahead and do so.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll just give a quick 30-second summary. So the project since we last presented has been significantly reduced. We reduced the overall square footage by 1,000 square feet. We removed the cabana, and also we kept the existing driveway that currently exists. And also, I just wanted to note that we have received final approval with Hope Ranch as well. So I'll go ahead and go through kind of your guys' previous comments to discuss which ones are still applicable and where we've kind of made some changes.
Quick question before you do, the items you just mentioned, are those changes that have changed since the last time we've seen it, or is that?
Since the last time you guys have seen it, correct?
Okay, so can you repeat that? What's changed?
Yeah, so the overall square footage we've reduced it by about 1,000 square feet. At one point, we were proposing a new driveway. We removed that idea and we're keeping the existing driveway. We did remove the cabana from the scope of work, so now it's just the main residence.
Okay. Very good. All right, make a presentation by going through the SBAR comments, please.
Okay, yeah, so so it says restudy driveway configuration. So again, we eliminated the original proposed driveway towards the left, and we did keep the existing driveway, which you see in its current state right there. Let's see, B, it says restudy gate and placement orientation. So I'll let Katie, our landscape architect, go over that comment. Maybe I'll go through the other ones and then she can present the landscape stuff. C, it talks again about the driveway and the excessiveness of it. We have removed that and we're keeping the original driveway. D, study options to soften the appearance. So I'll let Katie touch base on that. E is restudy the layout of the cabana. We have removed that, so it's not applicable anymore. Consider lowering the finished elevation of the cabana. We removed that, and I'll let Katie speak about the pool deck. So consider incorporating clear story windows. So we did do that. So if you can go to the elevations sheet A301. So we originally were just proposing clear story windows on the front elevation. So should be. So it should be like the 16th page, sheet A. That's the sections, A301. Number 6. Oh, that no, that's the site sections.
Sorry, it's just taking a little second to load.
Okay, that's okay. So just while we wait, the one thing to also know is, although we did significantly reduce the scope of work, the architectural character does remain the same. The finishes still remain the same as when we previously presented this project.
He's like something. Show music while we wait here. Anybody know any good jokes?
There we go. So if you look at elevation number one, the bottom one, that is the front elevation. So that's what you look at from Monte Drive. So we had this remains the same, the clear story windows above the doors below. We were asked to study adding them towards the rear as well. So if you go to elevation number 4 to the top, we did study that, and we do appreciate that comment. As you can see, we did add them, and we felt like it just enhanced the architecture of the structure to match the front. Letter H, it says provide photos of story pole. So that is no longer applicable. At our last presentation, there was some comments about the location of the cabana and the height of it and whether that was going to block some views from the neighbors above. We have since removed that from the scope of work, so it's no longer applicable. And then site section. So if you go to sheet A401, we provided a series of site sections, and this was a comment based on wanting to see the retaining walls towards the rear of the residence and its relationship to the structure. So as you can see, these site walls, they go anywhere from 4 feet to 5 feet at the back of the residence. And then where there is parking and where the driveway is, the retaining wall averages about 6 feet high. So that is shown on sheet A401. Moving on to J, provide arborist report. So I'll let Katie respond to that one. Consider providing additional perspective shots. So we added a sheet of 3D views. If you go to sheet sheet A901.
Val, do you have a question?
Did you have to modify the driveway to meet fire department requirements, or is it essentially in exactly where it was?
So the fire department said that the existing driveway was too steep. So what we did do is we provided a turnout on Monte Drive. And after we look at these views, we can go to the site plan. We have submitted to the fire department and they have approved our design. They said that they would be okay with that. So we provided some views. So views 7 and 6 are views taken from the street. So 6 is taken from above on Monte Drive, looking down towards the street and the project. View number 7 is taken from below of Monte Drive, looking up at the project. View number 5 is a straight on shot looking from Monte Drive. And then view number 1, that's just kind of a more close up. That's not realistic. That's just like a floating image of that. But then the other 3 views are just a couple of views from uphill from the site, and then one from the driveway and the other one from the other side of the residence. And then I actually that talks about the fire department. So if we go to sheet A101, the site plan, we did propose a turnout for the fire department. So you can see here we're going to have to remove some of the dirt there and provide some retaining walls there so the fire department is able to walk, and then we base it on their requirements from their clearances. So I'll go ahead and pass it on to Katie, who can touch base on some of the other comments related to the landscape.
Hi, all.
Hold on a second. We have a question.
One other question. Where was the cabana on this site plan? Was it to the left?
That is correct. Yeah. So towards the upper left corner of the residence, it sat above that area. So it was at the pool deck, approximately the pool deck elevation.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions before we proceed? All right, go ahead. Please make the rest of the presentation.
Hi all, Katie Klein with Perry I Landscape Architecture. If you want to scroll to our set, I'll walk you through quickly and respond to some of the previous comments. To start off, our tree protection plan on the next sheet. You can see we're removing one oak, but it's actually in bad health, and that was previously already communicated. So our mitigation is 315 gallons to the west. And if you scroll down, you'll see we have an arborist report from Bill Spiewak. So he lists all of that out. And so there's our arborist report. That's that comment from the previous meeting. If you continue to scroll. This is our lighting. So I want to mention that we have received final from the HOA and Hope Ranch. So we've worked with them, and all of this is dark sky ordinance appropriate. It is just path lighting, step lighting, and then we have a gate lights on either side of the pillars, which I also have a detail for. And you can see on this sheet as well, the spec. It's from Steve Handelman. So keep scrolling. Irrigation, we're well within our WELO. We'll keep going. Hardscape layout, you can see, as Jose mentioned, we worked with fire department to have this turnout in the front. We are specifying concrete in the front because of the steep slope. So, but we're doing more of an aggregate finish, so it feels and looks like gravel at the entrance and at that turnout. And then it's solid concrete up the driveway, and then we have permeable pavers once you get to the top. We do have a pedestrian access from that turnout that is really naturalistic, just sandstone, gravel, just feeling really natural and hidden in the landscape. Everywhere else we're doing gravel. Pool deck is concrete. If you keep scrolling, I'll walk you through the next sheets. Here's some details. Here's our gate detail. So worked with Hope Ranch to make sure it has that open ranch feel with the gates. Those are our lights. The front of the property has a 42-inch high, kind of a steel hog wire type fence. And then the rest of the property on the sides in the back are just chain link. And I'll walk you through the planting as well. Just some more details with the barbecue. So as far as screening around the property, we wanted to keep it very naturalistic. So it should feel, it's all native plants along the edges. There's one area where we have a row of podocarpus that's on the east side. That's to really give that wall of screening over by the garage to the neighbor there. So we really looked at all of where the neighbors are and provided screening all along the property. It's really simplistic planting, lots of grasses, agaves, salvia. And then we also have significant trees in the front for privacy. So we have Colorateria, Tipu, and then in the back we have olives. And that's our presentation. If you have any questions, happy to answer.
All right, any questions? Okay, I'm gonna open it. Do you have a materials board? Applicant?
We do, yes. So sheet A901.
All right, well, we're going for that. Do we have any public comment? Any members of the public wish to speak on this item? Having heard none, I'm gonna close public comment and bring it back to the board. We'll have you start on the left side here. Mr. Richards, go ahead and give us your comments and I'll look at the lines.
Sorry, material board is A302. My apologies.
Robert.
I'll stick to the landscape. I think it's a nice landscape plan. The one comment I make is,
Yeah, can you turn the volume down? I think we just need to turn the volume down.
the planting plan, I see all the sheets are black and white. It's just a little tough to read the way that the symbols are laid out. So maybe I recommend putting like abbreviations on your plan symbols so I can kind of navigate it. But other than that, I mean, after kind of dissecting, I think it all looks good. I don't have anything other than positive comments.
Okay, scrub.
I agree, the planting plan looks good and the general hardscape materials look, good. The feeling I'm getting just looking at the civil plans is that you're gonna feel like you're kind of in a plaster retaining wall shoot on a lot of the property. And so that was the reason I want to look at the materials for it. Because it might be worth looking at maybe a darker color for the plaster walls that are the landscape walls. Because there's just a lot of narrow, you have plaster retaining walls on either side of the driveway, it looks like, and then along the whole back side of the house, and then kind of framing you in on the front as well. So just looking at.
And format into a comment.
Yeah, look at a darker color for the stuff.
Okay, Miss Joshua.
Yes, I would agree with that. There's a lot of retaining walls. And in fact, in the renderings, what is the screening as you look up from, I guess it's from Monte, that you're seeing such a big wall? Can you go back to the renderings? Yeah. So the second one down on the left, that's really a lot of exposed wall. Well, both, everything on that side of the renderings. So what's the screening proposed right at those walls? And I agree that the walls should be darker color.
Sorry, which one are you commenting on? Which the front end, like where the turnout is?
Yeah, I guess that's what, well, no, it's what you see from below, from the road.
We have significant trees all throughout there, and then masses of salvia and grasses and rhamnus. So it's a significant amount of plant material and trees.
Landscape architects, did you
Can we
feel there
go
was
back to the
enough?
planting plan? I agree for the retaining walls up at the house. I just can't remember on the parking, the pull out if you had. Do you have anything coming over that retaining wall? Judy?
Yeah, we're doing a salvia. I think the bees list.
Okay.
It's hard with that turnout area. Pretty tight.
It might be worth, I guess my comment would be study, some vine pockets at the base of that wall, just. That.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other comments, Val?
No, that's it. I'd want to see more screening on those walls.
I also want to mention the walls are really just a max of 4 feet, and then it goes lower to 2 feet in the front there.
All right, it's enough. Let's go.
Page 17 with the renderings. I think it's a good page to comment. Yeah. I think it's a fine design, very, very nice. It has some of these the best features of mid-century modern architecture. There are some parts where it falls a little bit short, and that's where the comments come about the colors of the materials. It's mostly plaster, and maybe like if there was some other way to break it up, even by adding a different material or at least a different color. If you go to the number 2, if you go.
So your comment is to kind of study the material palette on the exterior.
To add some interest to the house, to continue the. If you go to the number 2, you can see that there's some very nice. The best element is in the center. The clerestory windows will integrate with the glass below. That appears there, and if you go back to where they were before. It appears in the center part of the house has a fenestration. Then on the wings, it starts kind of losing, and there's all these sliders. They're a little bit boring, all the same, and they look like bedroom windows. I don't know. It seems like it is a good design that could be improved with some minor changes in materials and better handling of the secondary fenestration.
Okay.
If that's clear enough.
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna come back around. So John, can you give us a comment on it, please?
Yeah, I just carrying Alex's thought a little farther. You know, the windows, you know, look like they belonged on another building. You know, that he's got a good start here on a modern building that's see-through area. But I think that the windows in the wall just seem out of context. You know, maybe they could be recessed a little to give them more definition, or carry them down to the floor. Or I just think that that sort of glazing should be, you know, restudied.
Well, if it's a mid-century, probably less breakups, right? The triangular window up top would be just one solid piece of glass usually in a full mid-century. I don't know if that's possible besides. Let's, I want to do something real quick before we go any further. We have a lot of comments here. So I'm just going to roll call these comments and I'm just check off what's been addressed adequately, and then we'll make them re-list and see where we go. Yeah, so item A, restudy driveway, is that an issue anymore? Okay, so we strike that. Restudy gate placement, we good? A driveway with is excessive, we resolve that. Consider alternate paving materials. We happy with the choices there so far? Yes, okay, so we can strike C. D, study options to soften the appearance of retaining walls. I think that was brought up. Right, are we clean with that, or we're asking for more planting? What was the comment that we're revising D with? And present some planting to soften. Okay. Okay, so the turnout retaining wall, we'd like to see a vine pocket so they could soften that wall, and we're looking for darker color on the retaining walls. That kind of, and then I think D kind of gets transformed to those comments. E, restudy layout and orientation of cabana, it's gone. Consider lowering finished floor of elevation of cabana, okay, that's gone. Consider incorporating clear story windows on other elevations of cabana, so. Yeah, let's get rid of the cabana piece of that. So we have incorporating clear story windows and other elevations as a consideration. We're going to keep that. Provide photos of story poles. Has that been provided? It's not necessary, right? Okay, provide site sections. We have those. Can you go to the site sections, Jonathan? Provide arborist report. I saw that. Consider providing additional perspective shots. Thank you. And input from fire department. So what we're left with, I don't know if there's anything to glean by looking at the sections. John can bring those up, but we have, let's summarize the comments that we have. So Joe, did you were you able to capture any of that? See where we're at?
Sure. Yeah, I've got a handful of comments. So I have the planting plan is appropriate, and the general hardscape materials are also appropriate. Use darker color on plaster landscape retaining walls. Consider utilizing alternate material for landscape/retaining walls to provide interest. And then study use of planting pockets at base retaining walls. And then the next comment I have is related to the fenestration. So just restudy fenestration. Windows look like they belong on a different building. Windows and walls seem out of context. Consider recessing windows or carry down to floor to give more definition. And then the last comment I had was better handling of secondary fenestration. I'm not sure if that fits in well with that.
It's redundant, yeah, that I think we
Hey, so
covered.
I'm sure a lot of comments on the retaining wall. So maybe, Joe, when you get to it, you can try and consolidate those. But I think, John, I'd like to try and restructure your comment. I think we just want to have the applicant, let's see if I paraphrase this. I want the applicant to restudy the window fenestration, the windows, in terms of achieving or maintaining the mid-century modern aesthetic. Right, I think we leave the applicant to it and seem adequately talented to figure out what to do with that. But there's some, the windows seem a little bit out of sync with the mid-century modern aesthetic, right? Well, that's what we're trying to shoot for there, let them figure it out.
I don't think recessing it is part of the mid-century model. I think it's the clear stories, the shape, going down to
the mid-century would be a single sheet of very low energy glass and probably not tempered, dangerous, and wildly large. And but there's some products out there that can simulate that. So Joe, does that help you there? We've got a comment about the window system to make it a little bit more in line with the mid-century aesthetic, and then we've got some retaining wall and landscape.
So with that, we could make a preliminary approval, right?
Well, yeah, I wanted to kind of, that's why I did this roll call. I want to make sure we're all cinched up. So are there any other comments that you guys want to add? Do I have a motion maker for preliminary approval today?
I mean,
okay, we have a motion. Do you want to condition your motion with any of the comments?
those two comments that you mentioned.
Okay. So, Joe, can you, to the comments, we've clarified the comment on the windows. Can you help paraphrase and try and tighten up the comment about the retaining walls? There are several.
Yeah, so what I have for the retaining wall is to use darker color on plaster landscape retaining walls. And then I also heard Alex say something about consider utilizing alternate material for the walls to provide interest. Is that accurate?
Okay, just studying materials or colors. I know you have the board feel seems like it's too much of the white.
Yeah, study materials or color color. Board prefers a darker color.
Well, it could even be different colors too, right? Different portions, different elements. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Take it easy. All right. Anything else? So we got study the retaining walls, the finish, and color, prefer a darker color, and we'll have the limit. Is that good, Al? All right. Do I have a second? Okay, Ms. Rosher seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We would like to see you back on consent or full board. We're fine. Full board, I'll let the motion maker decide the fate. That next step. So we'll see you back at full board for final. Make sure you bring all the requisite drawings, and looks like you have quite a bit here. So just continue on. Thank you.
Thank you.
You good? All right. So where am I? Item 4. Okay, item 4. We have request to Patrick Marr, agent for Keenan and Karen Izal. We have them present or online. This is conceptual review of a garage conversion and exterior door and window replacement. We have our applicants.
Yes, this is Patrick Marr.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm the architect for Keenan and Karen Izal. The project is located off of Cathedral Oaks to the north side of Cathedral Oaks between Turnpike and North San Marcos. It's currently a 4-bedroom house with attached 3-car garage. It was built in 1986. The existing house is about 3,100 square feet of living plus 800 square foot attached 3-car garages on a 1-acre lot. There's also a 744 square foot ADU on the site. We would like to add 100 square feet of living area and convert a 1-car garage into living area. The resulting house would be 3,500 square feet of living area with 519 square feet for 2 garage parking places.
Very good. All right, let's get let's just look at the floor plan and the elevations. This looks pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty simple project to me. So if you go to the next sheet, that's the existing house and a demo plan. If you look at the north side of the building towards the top of the sheet in the center, there's currently what's the recessed entry patio with the front doors. And the way the house is configured on the property, nobody ever walks to those front doors. So it's kind of like a useless entry. Everybody currently enters from the south side of the building. So what we're going to do is remodel the interior. We would like to expand into the entry patio on the north side of the building. And then the garage that's located in the lower right-hand corner of the building, we would like to convert to living space. And then do a small little hallway addition that links the rest of the living area to that converted garage.
Does that require any additional square footage to the footprint of the building, the existing?
Well, it more or less falls under the existing roof area at the entry. There will be 4 feet of new roof added for this new hallway that's at the to that one car garage. So if you go to the next sheet, will be the floor plan.
Any questions from the board? Okay, I think we can move this along. Do we have any public comment today?
Okay.
Do you have any comment other than positive remarks on this? It seems pretty straightforward.
The question, so what's so page 6 is the one that shows the elevations, right?
Yeah.
A6 is the existing elevations. A4 is the proposed elevation.
A4, okay. So. No questions. Thank you.
I don't think we have any comments other than return. Any comments? No landscape versus going on here. Let's have you return on consent, or we'll have you agendized for preliminary and final. Please bring the requisite documents for that, and we'll see you then. I think this should probably sail through. Doesn't seem.
Okay, that sounds great.
I said, looking at it, to be honest with you. Okay, next item up for bid. The price is right. What do we got? Number 5, the Wong edition. Chris Cottrell, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Nice to see you. All right, this is conceptual review of the first and second story additions. This is the first time we've seen you?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so state your name for the record, get us kind of located in the planet here.
Chris Cottrell, architect. The project is the north side of 101, north of Patterson. Pretty residential hood there. It's on a little cul-de-sac. See if you can
Is it an interior lot, Chris?
Well, it's just on the end of the cul-de-sac. It's got like a pie shape.
So yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
All right.
Could you just scroll down a little bit so we can see that? There we go. So we have some small, there was a second story addition done. We're not really touching that. We're extending it a little bit into the backyard to make an office work upstairs. A little bit of a bump at the front entry and just creating a little bit nicer entry with that front gable. And then in the back, if you can scroll down to the next page. Yeah, here you go. Yeah, you can see that second story addition is kind of left street elevation. We're not really touching that except changing the windows out. In the back, they have these little bump outs. We're just taking all that off, cleaning it off, moving that electric panel. And scroll down a little bit more. Just thank you. So there's that the back deck. I'm going to shrink that down in this as well. Could you go to the next page? Here's existing floor plan. You can see those things on the right side. We're just going to look all that stuff off. Next page.
So the thrust of this is what's the major addition?
It's not a major, there's a couple little bumps to kind of make the floor plan work. So you can see that front line, we're just cleaning up that front, widening their entry. It's really tight right now. And then the back line is just squaring it off. So it's
not really adding.
It's really
new bedrooms or anything like that.
It's very minor. We're gonna vault the great room, but that's just interior.
Do you have any proposals on how to fix the side loaded nature of this house?
No.
Just had to say it.
Yep.
All right.
You want to just look at the elevations real
Yeah,
quick?
we're looking at
Next
this.
page.
So we got some 3D. Any questions from the board?
Neighbors are supportive.
No questions. All right. Do we have any public comment? No public comment, no planner memos, no letters, no nothing. Okay, back to the board for comments. Let's talk about this, guys. It's a side loaded house. It seems very minor. what they're doing is trying to make it a bit nicer. I assume there's a finished package that you're adding to this. Can you talk about that real quick?
They're on a budget, so we're actually gonna leave the existing stucco,
Yeah.
just kind of match existing.
Okay, and what color is it currently?
It will get painted, it'll probably lighten up a little bit. It's gonna be,
And it's got like a cement board siding around the base.
Yep.
Some of the site walls.
Yep.
They're gonna remain.
that'll stay, yeah.
Okay. All right, anybody in support of this here?
Yeah, I can support this.
Okay, but anybody not loving this thing? John?
Well, let's see, this is existing, this. And so we're trying to get it permitted.
No, we're just adding on, it's all permitted, we're just making a few tweaks to it.
Okay,
John was feeling punitive. I'd like, well, I think if there's not any real tremendous comments, I'd like, are you proposing any exterior light fixtures on this?
We'll have to put a light at the back
Yeah.
door, but
So bring those back in your presentation and show how they're dark sky compliant. But I'd like to see this back on consent for preliminary and final.
perfect, thank you.
All right, have a good day. Next, number 7. Thank you, Valerie. Finally, a co-pilot. Keeping me on a straight and narrow. All right, so number 7 is Lonnie Roy, agent for Ed St. George. And what we have here is further conceptual of a 25-room residential building. And then, all right. Let's see a lot in the box here. We've got one drawing. There's no planner memos or, okay. We have a pretty good list of items from the last time around. Do we have our applicants here?
Yes, I'm here. Lonnie Roy, agent for the property owner.
Great. You want to walk us through, first of all, if there's anything that's changed materially since the last time we've seen it, let's talk about that first, but then I would like you to kind of just address each of the points that we have in the comment letter.
Yes, so let's go straight to sheet A 1.1.
Hold on one second. I just want to address something. Ms. Bernstein, are you still here? Oh, there you are. I just wanted to attend to this. You're here to speak on item 11, which is the second to the last item today. And we're going to break for lunch. When are we going to break for lunch, people? Like before. You're going to do item 9 and then 10. Is that right? We got a lot of comments on 9. We're probably going to do, we'll do 8 and 9, maybe, yeah. And then we'll come back and we'll do 10, 11, 12 and wrap up for the day. So, yeah, that'll put you, probably about 1:30. So I just don't want to leave you sitting there, but if you're comfortable and don't mind waiting. Okay, so you guys comfortable with that? Yeah. Either that or I can just try and be more entertaining to make your stay more enjoyable. But we'll make sure we get you into the comments. But just wanted you to be aware of the time frame. All right, back to our applicant here. So again, any changes since the last seen it, and let's get through the comments, please.
Yeah, so this is the site plan and the first floor plan. A comment that has come up consistently throughout the process is our first floor was inset from the second and third floor. And there were constant comments that the columns seemed weak and the ground floor couldn't visually support the second and third floor massing. So we have pulled the first floor massing or plane out to match the second and third floor along the Trigo roadside. And then the columns that are at the end of where the second and third floor overhang the parking, those were expanded to have more of a wall look to them. So it looks more, the second and third floor massing looks more supported. We didn't modify the columns between the parking spaces to allow for more ease of doors opening. But on the Embarcadero Del Mar side, we did increase the wall plane along there. And we also added a pop out along the resident entry where they enter from Embarcadero Del Mar. So if we can go to, yeah, the elevations probably. There. Yeah, that will illustrate it easier. So you'll see the kind of reddish brown element that was the entry element that was added to the resident entry. And we expanded the wall plane where the parking is so that it appears more substantial and it matches the repetition of the balconies and the windows above. On the south elevation, you'll see where that first floor was pushed out to the same plane as the second and third floor. Other elements that were included were the scoring was added to help with the fenestration of the building. We now have lighting proposed along the building there. We also provided the color material board, which was a comment on the prior one. The parapet heights were adjusted slightly before in our last iteration. The stairwell, which is that grayish element, was the same roof plane as the overall massing. So that was actually the larger massing. That element was brought up. So those have slight roof plane change. And something, let me see which page it's on. You go to sheet A 6.1.
All right, anything else?
Here, real quick for you.
We lose our applicant. Are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Does that conclude your presentation?
The one other thing, if you go to sheet A 6.1 real quick.
What sheet number is that?
Right there. So we added, we are dimensioning the parapet height at the mechanical well above the office as 4 feet, which will adequately screen the mechanical unit that's being proposed.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that covers
Any questions?
the changes.
Any questions from board members? I have a question for Mr. Burgell.
Yes, how did you resolve the bicycle access? There were a lot of series of comments, see which ones, you know, there was one about the bicycle access, the other one about the trash. And yeah, I guess those two.
So can you
so those were comments on the prior one. And if we go to the site plan, I can go over those changes, but that happened in a previous iteration.
Which sheet?
A 1.1.
Got some background noise if that's in your background.
So maybe 13, sheet 13 kind of shows it in black and nicely in the landscape plan. It's kind of nice.
Okay, yeah, we can use that one.
And that one might
You know where the background noise is coming from?
Yeah, here, give me 1 second. I'll mute myself and tell them to.
Tell them to quiet down. That's your obligation as a virtual attendee. Otherwise, I'd do it gladly for you.
So,
Sorry about that. Yeah, so in a prior iteration, we did not have direct access from the units on site to the trash room, which is on the left-hand side of the building there in that side yard area. So we extended the left stairwell used to pop out at the end of the walkway there. So that was moved into the building massing. So now residents exit out onto that walkway and go directly into the side yard area.
The trash is inside the building then? Is that it?
Correct. It's that rectangular room south of the stairwell on the left-hand side of the building there. So it's within the building area.
Lots of trash.
Yeah. Yes, we needed a lot of trash. And then so those will be rolled out to Trigo Road by staff.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, Mr.
Question.
Zodiac, yep.
Question just not, are there laundry facilities here, washers and dryers for their use?
Yes, so each of there's well, so it's a single room occupancy facility that are grouped in 5, what we're calling pods or groups, and each pod or group will have a staffed washer and dryer.
All right, I'm gonna move to,
And another question. So you managed to secure all that landscaping on the public right of way. Is that firm? I mean, it's going to happen, right?
Yeah, so we'll need to enter into a maintenance agreement with Public Works for that, but yes, we've had discussions with them.
And what
We
is
just needed to maintain the 5 or the 10-foot commercial sidewalk with.
And what is that area at the very southeast corner? It kind of looks like a banana or something, a lighter color. What is that? Is it planted or is it? What is that area? If I have a point.
In the little planter area next to the walkway.
Yeah.
That will be a backflow preventer for the fire sprinklers.
that's not a banana.
Yeah, there.
What kind of banana is you eating, dude?
It looks like a footprint.
Okay, I can go there. Ground cover safe.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yep.
All right, do we have any public comment on this project? Okay, I don't see any public comment. Any letters, planner letters again? No. Okay, let's bring it back to comments. But before I do that, I'm gonna do this before start us out here. So study improve circulation access to building from bicycle parking. Are we happy with the resolution of that now? We move on from that. Going once, going twice. Okay, so we're satisfied there. Pulling trash through bicycle parking is problematic. That's been resolved. Consider adding balconies to help break up elevation. That's been done. Any concern about that yet lingering? Architectural styles appropriate, but massing and fenestration need improvement. First story appears hidden. We feel that's been resolved. I think it has.
Can you go to the hard line elevations?
Come back to that.
12, yeah.
Yeah.
Or 11, I'm sorry.
11, go to 11.
Yeah, there you go. There, stay right there. Yeah, if you can enlarge it a little bit.
I believe I made a lot of comments about articulating the roof heights a little bit.
Yeah,
break it up.
yeah.
Yeah, and there was the comment about the columns for the parking.
Right, the restudy round columns to better integrate with the rest of architecture. So we're happy with that?
No.
No, we're not. So where can we see those?
You can see them right there.
Sheet 11.
Yeah, the thing is they're very constrained. If I can say, Mr. Chair, my proposal is to make them, it's hard to make them thicker because they only have, tight space. They might be, but they could also be deeper. They could be, they could go, so they look like fins, because right now it looks like they have like toothpicks holding that second story. So if is any way to increase the presence of those columns, because they are very small columns holding a massive building above. So they need, as I was thinking, at least make them deeper, or if you can make them a few inches. Right now they're 18 inches, 18 by 18 or something like that.
Okay, so we'll come back to that. So item E, we're still talking about, but I want to go back to massing and fenestration. Are we, first story appears hidden. Are we, that's item D. Do we have any further comment on that? Or you think it's moving past that? Is there anything still there to discuss?
I think it's improved.
Okay, so let's assume D has been addressed for now. Landscape palette is acceptable. Interspersed canopy trees along north property line. Do we have that the way we want? Okay, we got Washingtonians. We study southeast corner sidewalk and I suppose the banana area. I think we like that. And the paving appears excessive. Can we resolve that? Okay. But G and then enhance entrance. I suppose you did talk about that, but you want to revisit that quickly, make sure we are happy with the entrance. How's that been improved?
Yeah, so on the east elevation there, you'll see where it's calling out resident entry light fixture. That entry element was popped out from the building plane and has a more distinctive color than the rest of the building to kind of give that greater sense of entry to where the residents would be walking to enter their units.
Okay, and well lit, I hope. Where is that on the plans? I'm not seeing that. Where's that on the first floor? That's here, right? I'm not seeing that on the first floor. I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah, if you go to,
I don't see, oh, there it is. So the pop out.
yeah, it's just a little pop
Entry.
out.
So technically the entry just walks you into the car parked area, right?
Yeah, because the ground floor residential grouping unit just has the one door that accesses there, and the other units will use the stairwells to get to there. So it's really that element entering that walkway is really, at least in our opinion, the entry for residents, at least from the street perspective.
And do we have accurate representation of landscape and elevations as requested?
Yes, yeah, the color elevations have that.
So we have a question about an item on, what page are you on? Sheet 5, page. Yeah. They're not labeled.
Sorry, I can't hear what the question is.
So
Carl Point. What are the right there? Are this the trash cans?
Which one, number 26? Or
See a call out going to them. It's the, sorry. Right there. They're like dashed rectangles with circles going through them. You see where Jonathan's cursor.
oh yeah, no, so those are just outdoor two-top tables for residents to use.
I just didn't know if it was equipment for the building.
Yeah, so that's a little kind of outdoor amenity or common space. So there's like a low, I'll say a vine fence, but it's more a wire mesh fence that's matching the wire mesh railings that are on the architecture. And then just to enclose that space and provide some seating for residents.
Okay.
okay, so sounds like the comments, we're on further conceptual, but we've kind of checked off a lot of items here. So the comments that are going forward are to continue to study options for improving the design on the columns. One of the board members mentioned the idea of making them, obviously you can't increase their width, but you could potentially deepen them and make them look a little bit more substantial. You could also extend them outward and have them reach up into the building to create purchase on the elevation above.
That's what I was
That's another
thinking.
thing. So
Yeah.
I think other than that, are there any other comments? Mary?
I think we need to pay a little bit of attention. So it's a big project. I understand that it has moved and improved a lot, but it has a little bit of a ways to go.
Can you go back to 11?
So, all right, so hold on.
Yeah, so I think I would like to make comments.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, so do you have anything in addition to what we just talked about?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. If you go, yeah, I think the best, the render elevations really do not help that much because they have too many trees blocking really the building, you know, that it's a technique that I've used in the past that I recognize it Anyway, I think the building still looks blocky I mean, let me start from the beginning. I think the project has improved, mainly the site plan has improved greatly. The circulation has been pretty much resolved. There are some issues that need a little bit of attention. One is the massiveness of the building, and there were some requests to change the parapet heights or the elevation of certain portions of the building to give it some, some movement. The other one is the elevations. Let's say what's most visible in this building would be the Embarcadero, which is the south elevation. And there were some comments about doing something a little bit different on the first floor. I understand that the second and third floor are balconies. The first floor is not clear how that connects to the street level. Maybe they're enclosed, but it could be somewhat different. So it's not the same like a pancake, 1, 2, 3, they all line up. Seems like the first floor could be a little bit more detailed, more designed. And then the comment on the columns on the south elevation, the columns, if maybe something comes out, there could be some kind of a trellis, adding a few feet of shade pulling out of at the right in front of the like an extension of the first of the second floor level.
We
some kind of
that to maybe like an architectural detailing.
Yes, what is it?
Kind of integrate the columns to the building.
The pointer, where is the pointer? We should have more pointers here, Jonathan.
One's enough.
No, I think we should be able to. Don't listen, like right there. If you can follow with your,
the talking stick now.
Yeah. This would be an element. Considering that everything is so limited that this goes right, takes you right into this space, and the front door really is a door into the parking area. Something could be done there, anyway. So we're talking about this level of the columns, maybe some trellis above, doing something with this first floor elevation, and then doing something with the monotony of the box.
So when you say something to be done with the first floor on the south elevation, can you get more specific about?
Well, I'd like to give applicants some discretion, so there is not dictatorial or it's trying to satisfy me.
You're asking for a change in material, like a base material?
It could be that or somewhat. Right now, I see 1, 2, 3, like the pancakes. 1, 2, 3. The first seems like the first stack should be a little bit more important because it's the one facing the street. It could have like maybe a color band, a wainscot. It could have a different material. It could be I don't know. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as the one above. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I mean, we have to be careful. There's a corner element of glass around this office, right? Which seems to be, in my mind,
it's good. Yeah,
kind of syncs up well with the windows on the left side of the south elevation, but the balcony elevations have a whole different look to them, right? So, I just want to be careful that we don't overgild the lily here. As we start adding stuff to this building, it's going to start to get over adorned, and I think simple is better. So I'm not sure. Well, I'll just say I'm comfortable with the elevations the way they are. So I'd like to see something done with the columns, and I agree that there should be the detailing of some sort. Perhaps use the same awning detail that's being used at the office. You can see that down at the bottom of the east elevation on the next sheet. Might extend can you go to the next sheet? There's a detail on the bottom left of the east elevation. See that little, looks like it's being held on, but it's kind of broad. Anyway, so any other comments? Discussion?
Yeah, I want to really have them work on the columns. Right now, it reads like a Northridge apartment waiting to collapse in the back.
Maybe.
And it may no columns or bring them up the into the architecture of the building and give them some strength. You can't see it here because of the trees. Can you go back to 11? Yeah, I mean, it reads like a big unbroken box sitting on small toothpicks, so. And I still think that the idea of some variation in the top of the box in terms of the shapes would really help it.
John?
Yeah, I'm a little confused about the entrance where the colored
Red colored
thing
box.
occurs, but in the plan, this area right here that has that color on it, it calls it out as entrance, but is there a door there? I don't see that on
No,
the
it's like a breezeway that takes you into the parking area, and then from there you find the front door. That's how people living there get from
Okay.
the sidewalk.
Well, I reinforce that idea too. It looks like the idea that it's sitting on the ground without any base.
Okay. Anything from left side of the table here? So my comment on the entrance into the parking structure is I just want it to be very well lit. I want to create it's just a condition of a lot of lighting for safety reasons. Isn't the nature of this being a student housing? And that's kind of a good hiding place for somebody if they wanted to surprise somebody. So
Yeah, are those fixtures light, dark sky compliant?
Yes, all the light is directed down from the top of the light standards without it flashing up.
Can you go back to the floor plan? Doesn't it invite danger while entering through the parking?
yeah,
That's the only
so it
entry.
needs to be well lit, but people drive in with their cars and get out and walk in. So that's the closest way to point B, as long as it's well lit. I think that's important. It's not a big deal. That's why that's what I'm saying. But it is what it is. So where we go from here, folks? Any other comments? Seems like there's a certain challenge and uncomfortableness. So I want to make sure.
I think it has improved a lot since we first seen. I mean, I have recognized that. And it's just, it has a little bit ways to go. It's like minor, seem like details, but they need to be worked out.
There's a comment about articulating the roofs. Can we still pushing on that, or is that? Yeah. Parapet heights, you made that comment.
No, well, you made that comment
I know,
2
but
meetings
I
ago.
was just
Yeah,
writing it
yeah,
down.
yeah.
Do you have anything specific you want to add to that? Yeah, I wanted to ask, what is the height restriction in the zone, and how far are we from achieving that? The applicant have the answer to that? Are we right up to it, or are we below it?
We're pretty much right at it. I think we would have an inch or two, but we're pretty much at it.
Okay.
And it's 35 feet.
Good. All right, well, based on Alex's comment, I think we can come back to preliminary, but here's the light. We have comments on the columns and detailing between the columns and the body of the building. We have a comment on safety lighting around the parking and entrance area. We have comment to further study articulation in the parapet heights. We have a comment about the south elevation is specifically the arrangement of windows and matte kind of finish elements at the first floor. There was also a comment from John about studying the entry and thinking about maybe putting some kind of base or having it land a bit more into kind of a, I mean, given that you're going to have bicycles going through there, maybe like a wainscot of some sort with a hardened material like stone or something that's durable to keep that plaster from chipping at the corners or something like that. Maybe what I'm thinking of. I don't know, anything else? The color palette seems acceptable, the lighting seems acceptable. Landscape, you guys good? Okay, the landscape architects are happy with the selections and the trees and the landscaping. Hardscape's good, so those are the comments, Joel. I think this project will probably come back to preliminary in the next agenda, and then hopefully it can move to consent with the final, we'll see. I'll give the applicant any final words on the subject here. Do you have any response or rebuttal to anything you've heard today that you want us to consider?
No, thank you so much for hearing the project and your comments.
All right, let's keep it moving. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thanks.
We're gonna go to our next item.
Mr. Chair, could I just had one quick question for the minutes. There was a comment by Alex about the overall massing of the building, and I just wanted to make sure that if we wanted to incorporate that, what that was.
Yeah, I think, Alex, you want to rephrase that? I think the roof articulate, the parapet articulation part of it, but
Yeah, that's what,
kind of boxy. It is a box. It is also student housing. This is not a Montecito mansion or a house.
apartment housing.
It's apartments. Let's be clear about that. So how do you want to tighten that up? I think what he's looking for is something that the planning staff can actually kind of substitute.
Well,
So-
if they cannot raise the parapet, I'm not sure if they can lower it in somewhere, but yeah, I would like to leave it kind of loose to let the applicant figure out ways to do it, but it just seems like it's like a shoebox, and I understand the parameters and why it's like that, but yeah. So the direction is to create some variety and interest in the form of the building. I'm not sure how else to say it.
Like if I had to advise the client, the applicant, I would tell them to. Let me say that differently. I think giving a three-dimensional perspective of this building from the public right away or 2 vantage points would probably help us understand it better. I think there's an acceptance of the project in general, and I think there's a little bit of an uncomfortableness about the box. If it is a box, there's nothing wrong with a boxy little building if it's done well. But I think we're having a hard time assessing it. So maybe three-dimensional drawings. It seems like a significant enough project to merit such a study. Yeah.
So, he's at the height limit and he can't vary the parapet.
Well, who knows? I mean, they're trying to battle against screening, obviously, of mechanical equipment on the roof. So I would add a comment, Joe, to return with 1 or 2 feet perspective drawings to help us further understand the massing. With the comments we have, I think that would help.
Okay, great. I just got that. And then I have one other question. As far as the project, you asked for it to return for further conceptual review.
Yeah, return on preliminary, please.
Okay, so this is a development plan, so it will go to the decision maker and then return for preliminary review.
So the board is supportive of the project in general, just working on architectural detailing and massing and fenestration.
So what happened? Why does it go? I mean, I want to make sure there's some flexibility when it comes back, so this board can have some power. Otherwise, right? Like,
Well,
yeah.
Joe, you want to explain what the next step of this is? I assume they're just getting their land use permit for the use.
Yes, so the project is subject to a development plan. So the decision maker for the development plan, I believe it's probably the zoning administrator, or perhaps it's the planning commission. So the way the process works is that has to receive approval of the development plan before it can be granted preliminary approval by this board. So it's up to your discretion. If you feel like what's been provided in general, the overall mass, bulk and scale and location and siting of the project is appropriate, and you're just looking to fine tune some of the architectural details, that is usually kind of how it gets forwarded to the planning commission or the decision maker, with the BAR having the discretion to make fine tune adjustments to the architectural details later.
Okay, well, I'm comfortable bringing it back to us on preliminary. And I think it should go forward in the application process based on our comments. Any dissension on that?
No, I think we should, yeah, just as long as we're clear that we do expect some improvements in the areas already remarked. Yeah, okay. All right.
All right, let's complete that item so it's noon. Who's hungry?
Okay, let's go.
You wanna do one more item or you wanna go eat?
Well, let's one.
I'd like to go eat.
Yeah.
So we're not grumpy. All right, we're gonna take how much time do we need?
1 hour.
1 hour. We'll be back. We'll resume here at 1 PM. We'll start with item 8. And we'll see you then.
Good. It's better when we are not grumpy.